Hello everyone. I'm going to detail my little chessboard that I made. In the last few weeks since the end of uni, I thought, why not learn some practical skills? Not just, theoretical stuff you learn. Why not learn something you might use? And so I did that. Um, I thought it'd be quite interesting to make a chessboard, especially one that was styled on my own play. And hopefully I've done that. It plays fairly well. We will get to that later. Um, but yeah, so I will start off with sort of how it works. We'll begin with how it evaluates a position because that's fairly simple. So you have a chess position, and in general, this is quite standard. Like a pawn will be worth one, as in, it's all in units of pawns. So a knight is worth like 3 pawns, and bishops are usually worth 3. But I've just changed it to make it 3.25 because I think uh, more common that people think bishops are slightly better than knights now. I mean, it's been that way since, well, maybe the last 50 years even. So it's not been that recent. Um, and then, so it has its general piece values, which it takes into account. So it evaluates the board as a function of the ball position. Obviously, if you're about to get checkmated, that is terrible. So that's minus a big number. And then similarly, if you're about to checkmate someone, you get a big number because it's good. And then a draw is 0 because, that's how you define equal, 0. So the way it evaluates a position, it just has a number for the evaluation or the eval. So the simple way it does this to begin with is just count up how many pieces have you got and what values do those pieces have. And then, so positive evaluation is for white, and then negative evaluation is for black. So what's in effect the net of the value of the pieces to begin with. But then, chess is a bit more complicated than that. You can't just say, oh, I've got more pieces than you, because you could have a king and a knight, and then the opponent has lots and lots of pieces, and you can still win because there's a mate somehow. I mean, there's a few studies, can't name them off the top of my head, but there's quite a few like that where, yeah, all the pieces are sidelined on one side of the board, and white's just got a knight, and it just weaves around the board and wins eventually. So to encourage development in a general position, in the opening, you need to get your pieces out, which is somewhat, counteracted by another part of the engine / bot that I've made, but we'll get to that. But for now, if a bishop or knight is stuck on its opening square, you know, you're not going to have a very good game. You're not going to play very well. So this is what this does basically. If a knight or a bishop is still stuck on its square, that reduces its evaluation score. So in order to improve its evaluation, you need to get your pieces out in effect. And so you've just got the net of this again, which changes the eval. So you've got the sum of those. This is all as a sum. Similarly, castling is important. I saw over quite a few trials of playing against the bot, it wouldn't really castle. So what I did was just try and encourage it to castle. So give it a fair spike in evaluation. 0.3 is, 0.3 of a pawn, which is a reasonable amount in a game. Yeah, so just castle when you can. And then this was also 0.3, but what would happen was that they wouldn't castle, they just move the king in a strange direction, and then that would just be terrible. So that's got a small sort of negative to the evaluation. But, because you want the king to move eventually. And then similarly, the queen, because of, well, before how it was evaluating before, there was also a sort of an increase in evaluation for how many squares you controlled, and then as a proxy, it was the legal board moves. But what would happen then was then the queen would just come out because that would maximize your legal board moves to begin at the start of the game, but that's not how you really play. So, oh, that's down here even. So before a set number of moves, you want the queen to just stay where it is. And here I put 6 full moves. That's also good. And then, if you know chess, you know chess. This sort of makes sense. If you don't, probably wasted your time. So now we get onto the actual how the bot works, and we will start here. So in effect, because I wanted it to play sort of along my style, I downloaded basically all my online games since 2021, and they're in a big PGN file, which is here. And so what the bot does, it will follow a game that I've played as far as it can, basically. And so that's sort of what it does here. So you've got a PGN file, which is our big file of chess games, and then converts it to a different format, which it can read a bit quicker, because PGN's quite a bit slow to read. Loads that in, and then it will get the top moves in every position, given that I've had that position, let's say, online. So, after the first couple moves, if you're following a more sort of main line, then there'll be a few moves, and it picks one of these at random to play eventually, but we'll get down to that. So yeah, moving on. This is where we get more towards the actual engine side. So before, you got the starting building blocks, which is like my own play, and then the next bit is the engine playing, sort of more in style how I would. Obviously, it's not perfect, but it's not bad. As we will see later. And so, how does the engine evaluate the position? So we've got the evaluate function. So it evaluates every single board arrangement according to those lines. But when you're actually playing, obviously you're timed. You need to think. You've got sort of heuristics that say what is quicker, or what is more important to look out for first. So we'll start down here. So in a lot of chess programming, and then in mine it's no different, you have minimax algorithm and alpha beta pruning. So minimax just says, in effect, I evaluate this position because I've looked, let's say, two moves ahead. So I've evaluated it now. I evaluate it in one half move, which is the opponent move, and then I'm evaluating on my next move, which is in a move's time. So it will evaluate what's my best move in a move's time, given that my opponent has played their best move in half a move's time. And so as a result, what should I play in this current move? So that's the gist of it. Obviously, if you're more knowledgeable, then that's fairly simple. And then alpha-beta pruning, which is in there. You can sort of see here. Sort of speeds it up because you can discount some of the branches of the tree because you'll never reach those branches. So why would you bother evaluating them? And so this was good, but it's a bit slow. So one of the ways is you want to feed the moves in to the function in a certain order, because some moves will be better than others. And so that's what we've got here. We've got an order moves function, which, is also, takes into account this, which is, if your queen's being attacked by a pawn, you want to look at that move first, because you don't want your queen being taken by your most valuable piece being taken by your least valuable piece. And so this function orders those sort of positions, or something similar to that. If your knight's being attacked by a pawn as well, you want to move that. So that puts that in there. And so what we do when you order moves, we get our captures, we get our so-called evacuate moves, which is if my piece is attacked, I want to look and see where do I move that next. And then we got safe moves, which is pieces that aren't being attacked or aren't attacking something else, so that they can capture them. And so we just sort these sort these here, and that orders our moves. So then we plug it into our minimax function. So it plugs in the moves at the right order. And then iterative deepening sort of works as our minimax. Basically, just looks half move sort of across, and then looks another half move deeper. But this is good because you will cut, because of the alpha beta pruning, you'll cut off some branches a lot quicker than you otherwise would. So that's sort of the gist of the bot. This just plays the move. Either it gets the book move, which is the move that I've played in real life, online. And then if not, it will go through this whole sort of group of functions to say what move it should play. And then the rest of it just handles the game, really, which was a bit of a faff to sort out, but it works now. Yeah, and then define main just gets it going. And then on top of that, I've also got it saying, oh, there we go. It also says the eval after every move. But if I wanted to, I could close this all down because it's currently running on a Google Cloud virtual machine. So I've been setting that up. That was also a faff to set up, but we got there in the end. So now it's always online, so anybody can go and play it whenever. Oh, yeah. So here's my bot. I've been playing it a bit just to test it, but yeah, give it a go, and you can see. Yeah, give it a go. See if you can beat it. It's not the. It's fair. It's decent. It's reasonable. But we'll see. Actually, I will do this even. No, I will do this. That's what I'll do. So we can see the eval of what it thinks it is versus my opinion, and then maybe we'll check against a stronger engine or not. So we go for like typical moves. Yeah. So it plays these instantly because, well, I've played them apparently. Some of these moves I can't remember that I've played them before, but yeah. So this is typical. I played this game in a similar game to this in Croatia last summer. I need to remember what I did. No, it doesn't really matter. It's fine. But yeah, the engine shouldn't lose on time. But I played a game with it recently, and it did lose on time, which is confusing. So we'll see what happens. I mean, Bishop d4 probably is not bad here. Okay, that's a questionable move, but you can see here how it's played the book move these few times, and now it's evaluating the position. It's like really, really doing well for black. That's not the most accurate, but eventually it will realize that it's being a bit optimistic. But yeah, these are some of the things I need to sort out. But in terms of the actual play, it's reasonable. It doesn't just give up pieces just willy-nilly for no reason, normally. When I had this running on the lower depth, also on a lower depth, obviously that's natural. The trade-off between move quality and time. But when I had this running on a lower, okay, that was interesting. Sort of lower memory and CPUs or whatever. Obviously, then you had a worse performance. Yeah, for some reason, this game is playing strange. I mean, like 94 and then just going back only really helps white. King f8, also strange. Unless it wants to go king g7 after a castle. But if it doesn't go king g7, then that just makes no. Wow. Unless it wants to go h5. Okay, h6. Okay. So it's not awful. Obviously, here there's a threat of bishop h6 and takes e7. But yeah, we could also see when I played knight f6, then it switched its evaluation straight away to white's better. King f8, white's still better. Then it plays h6 and thinks black's better. So in some ways, it's a sort of static view of the position. Obviously, it's got the minimax and the iterative deepening, and it recalls those positions, which we see. There's a transposition book, and it basically just says if I've looked at this position before at a certain depth, I'll remember that. Yeah, I'll remember that, and then I'll use that evaluation in my future evaluations if you go down that tree. But yeah, normally I don't play 3+2 against the engine. Sometimes it needs a bit more time to think, but it seems to be doing all right. But even now, I mean, I said those things earlier where I was just playing silly, but it's not playing awfully. Like the moves it's playing aren't that bad. I mean, still it's got his bishop and c8 sort of stuck there. I mean, but with the queen on d6, you know, what are you going to do? Like maybe b6, bishop e7, you know, rook e8. That would be semi-sensible, but that queen doesn't really have another place to go. I mean, knight e8 is questionable. You know, I've got pressure on c5. I mean, I don't know. But it's very tricky because it searches at a depth of 4. So that's 4 half moves. So, you know, 2 moves for white, 2 moves for black. So if there's like a mate in 2, it will see the mate in 2 and beat you. If there's a tactic in 2 moves, usually it'll see it. Sometimes it doesn't. So here I'm thinking d6, but then in queen e5 looks reasonable for. Maybe I'll just make it interesting. Go f4. Yeah, we'll do that. Why not? Uh, I didn't consider that one, and I don't think it's particularly good. Takes. I mean, it can take it h3. That's fine with me. Okay. All right. Okay. But I mean, against, you know, people don't really know how to play chess that well. This is a fairly strong plot. But because I haven't programmed some of the things into it, like, I mean, my pieces just, I mean, they're just dominating. Like this king, ridiculous. This rook, ridiculous. Bishop, they're all just stuck. As I'm getting my pieces out. Oh, I need to stop yapping and start playing. That's what I should do. Yeah, but the general play of the bot is fairly good. I mean, if I make an absolute terrible mistake, it could beat me. But that shouldn't happen. But it's interesting to see the evaluation now. It's sort of shifting between white and black is better. I mean, that can't be good. And queen 7. Oh, I've got bishop g6 coming in. Yeah, this has gone a bit wrong. A bit wrong for. I mean, I can just take that. I'm not playing rook f8, but you're playing rook f8. I'll play rook f6. Still threatening mate. I mean, queen d7, bishop d4. You know, but you can see how ridiculous rook is over here. And I'm just getting all my pieces in. His pieces can't move. Yeah, I mean, it is realizing how bad. I mean, that is ridiculous. Yeah. Yeah. But no, it plays reasonably well. You can see in the evaluation, it started off quite high, and then it sort of realized that it wasn't doing it as well as it maybe thought it was doing. And it really switched. I mean, it played f6. It played f6. There we go. Yeah, I mean f6, but it was already not doing well. Here, I mean here, what? I mean, what do you play? Rook G8, but then Bishop H7. Yeah. I mean, it's realizing it's done badly there with F6 there. Then after King G8, F6, and then after King G8, it thinks it's doing fine again, which obviously is a real player. You sort of know this is not the sort of where you want your game to go, especially because look at, I mean, my light square bishop. Once he plays F6, I mean, all these squares are just so weak. And yeah, we just attack. I mean, threaten me, counter threatening me, put your pieces in. Yeah, you just win. But no, it plays reasonably well. I mean, I'm what? 10 players. I'm not a terrible blitz player, so But if you, I'd recommend give my bot a go because it's always online. I mean, I can close this. I hope it should still be online. Yeah, still online because it's not being hosted on my laptop. It's being hosted on